Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. Well, as you can see, we're back with another build. Today we got a 3050 on our hands. This is a $800 budget build, so let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to start with the parts, then we're going to go into the building process. I'm going to show you guys how to build it, then we're going to get into a little bit of gameplay, installing all the stuff onto it, and then that's pretty much it. Then we're going to ship this off to the customer. So, let's get started. Alright, so we're going to start off right here with the CPU. So we have a Ryzen 5 5600. It's not the X, not going to be overclockable, but it is 5600, coming in at around, I'll put the price on the screen because I don't have them currently in my head. I'll put the price on the screen, 5600X. Next, we're going to talk about the graphics card. This is the EVGA GeForce 350. This came in at this price, and the prices are lowering for the graphics cards. I'm really liking it. So, next, talk about storage. Let's have this Team Group MP33 M.2 1TB hard drive or SSD. So next, motherboard B450M. Since this is a lower budget build, not to say $800 is low money, but today's market with computer parts and stuff, it is definitely going to be lower budget. So we got a 450, and I know what some of you guys maybe are thinking, that the 3050 is PCI 4 and this is PCI 3. It's not going to run as well. Obviously it's not going to run as well, but things essentially certain researchers have shown that there's not that much of a difference, but only by like maybe 4 or 5 FPS. So we're just going to go ahead and choose the cheaper option and go with the 450. Next, just some LED strips for some aesthetic purposes. Next, we have a rose wheel. This is our power supply. This puppy is a 600 watt, if I'm not correct. Okay, so next we have the case. It's a MacQ 310. Not too bad. Not the best airflow, but for the budget, it's definitely going to do its job. So the customer wanted a white and pink, where the pink Funko Pop Power Ranger comes in. If you guys don't know, I do Funko Pop, essentially custom themes. I also do pre-builds on my website if you're interested. And I also, something that I want to mention really quick before we keep going into the video, I do a fundraiser for people, mainly kids, who can't afford things such as gaming computers and stuff. But you know, if you were a kid, when you were a kid, you wanted to game, and if you did, you know exactly how that feels. And if you couldn't have gamed when you were a kid, you definitely wish you could have. So I essentially help gather up the money, take the money, build the computer, and send it out to a less fortunate kid that can enjoy the game or the console and use it for schoolwork, maybe playing games, obviously, and things of the sort. So if you're interested, click the GoFundMe link in the description down below. Add some money to it, we'll build it. I'll even show you me building it on here, and then we'll ship it out. This currently is not a fundraiser build, just to let you know. So let's continue. We're gonna go ahead and start with the installation process. First thing you're going to do is take your motherboard out, and then you're just gonna set it on top, and we're gonna start adding things to it. Let's do it. Alright guys, next thing that I forgot to tell you guys was the fact that I have these RAM sticks that I'm putting in here. This is 8 gigs of RAM, 2133 megahertz. I forgot to add that just because of the fact that I had taken them out of the case, thinking I was going to not record this video and just build the PC, but looks like I'm building it. So, all on camera. So let's do this. So the next thing you want to do for the installation process is get your case, put it down flat like this, then get your motherboard, take it out, and we're going to start adding the RAM, CPU, and other things to it, so that way it's easier to just go ahead and put it on there and then put it in here. Let me show you guys that process. Alright, so I kind of set everything to the side right now, except for the CPU, the RAM, and that's pretty much what we're going to add onto the board right now. So like I said, take your board, set it out, get your RAM. First thing we're going to add is the CPU. So we're going to use a stock cooler fan on this, because anything that is not going to be overclocked, usually a stock cooler fan or Ryzen is the way to go, unless you have enough money to add like an AIO or something. But like I said, this is a lower budget PC build. $800 is not going to get you too much at this day's market, but the prices are lowering. So we're in luck, people. We are in luck. But for now, this is what we got. Okay, as you can see right here on the board, there is a little triangle in the corner.
Artlist.io.
First, you're gonna flip this switch up, and as you can see on the CPU, there's a triangle in this corner right there. Right, so you're gonna line those up. You take your CPU. Try not to touch the top too much, but you're gonna take your CPU and you're gonna make sure you
Music
don't
licensing reimagined.
hurt the prongs at all, right? So you're just gonna lay it on top, just very gently. Let it fall in place. It's gonna fall in place. You'll hear it. And you're just gonna push this. It'll be a little bit of resistance, but you're gonna push it till it clicks down. Boom, you're good. So next, thermal paste should already be applied on the cooler, right? But if you're using AIO or something, you obviously have thermal paste, and then you just be able to apply it, do your AIO, whatever. But this is already on the cooler, so we're just gonna go ahead and add it. So as you can see right here, these little brackets, these with this stock cooler, we're not gonna need it. So we're just gonna take the top brackets off. There is a plate under that the stock cooler is going to attach to. So we're going to keep the plate but take the brackets off, right? So we're going to go ahead and do that. Alright, as you see right here, 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 and here, right? You're just going to take this cooler, I can do this with one hand, take this cooler, boom, just like that. Now you want to essentially position this, it's either one or two ways, this way or this way, right? But do it the way that makes the most sense so that this little cord right here is easily able to fit right here. This is the CPU header. That's what gives it power. So let's do that.
Music licensing reimagined.
Alright, as you can see, we put the cooler on there, on top of the CPU. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add the RAM. Now, there's a specific way you want to add the RAM. I'm going to show you guys right now. So as you can see, they're kind of color-coded too. But on some boards, there'll be like some writing right here or up here. And it'll say like A1, B1, A2, B2. Essentially, these are the different RAM slots. And if you've ever heard anything about dual channel, then that is essentially how you get that. So you want to make sure you don't do them by each other, like by themselves. You essentially want to do one here and one there. What that's going to allow is for the most RAM speed possible for your RAM. So we're going to go ahead and install that the proper way. And another key note is make sure they're lined up, right? This only goes in one way. See that? But if I turn it around, it's not going to line up. So make sure you're putting them in properly, lining them up with that line. Going down until you hear click. I'll give an example. So this is the proper way.
Artlist.io.
So you want to typically use 2 fingers, but this is all we got for right now. Trying to get a better lighting position. And or you want to use 2 hands, but this is all we got. So down until you hear click.
Music licensing reimagined.
Now they're sealed. Boom. Next we're gonna move on to this one. I'm gonna install this and give it to you guys when I'm done. Alright, perfect. We have the whole thing installed. Next thing we're gonna do, since we have our case right here, it's already laying flat. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys exactly how you can put it in. Now this case that we have is a ATX case. So it can take anything from ATX all the way down to a ATX. Essentially a micro ATX board, which is a smaller version of the motherboard. I forget the things off the top of my head. So first thing you want to make sure is that these holes right here, boom, boom. Where's the other one? There.
Music licensing reimagined.
And there are essentially have standoffs. These little things right here that you see, these are standoffs. You want to make sure everywhere that there's a hole on the motherboard, there's a standoff in here. And then you're going to line them up and you're just going to screw them in with the motherboard screws that you got inside the motherboard. Or either it came with the case, which I'm pretty sure mine came with the case. So they have motherboard screws. Also comes with zip ties for cable mount. Alright guys, one step before you guys do that. You want to take this comes with the motherboard. It's the I/O shield, right? It goes right in here. You essentially line it up so that you know what all the ports are and what they do, and it's to give a little bit of protection and help with dirt stuff. So you just line it up and you push it through. You should hear a couple clicks, and then you're good to go to install a motherboard after. Alright, it's installed, we're good to go. Okay guys, so next we're going to install the motherboard. Like I said, line it up on the stand-offs, make sure that you're good to go. Take your motherboard screws, line them up, screw them up, and then I'll show you the next step after that. Alright guys, we got it in there. We're also going to add our storage. Usually I have a solid state drive that's more physical and not a M.2, but I almost forgot about this bad boy. I would have realized once we started booting up, but here we go. We're going to add the M.2. I'm going to show you how to do that really quick. Then we're going to go ahead and get into the power supply after this. Alright guys, as you can see right here, this is going to go in this slot right here, and then there's a tiny screw that you're going to line up with this, and then you're just going to screw it in. So I'm going to go ahead and install it, show you it installed, and then we're going to move on to the power supply. Alright, next bad boy we got right here, power supply. So we're going to crack this bad boy open, slide it in. We're going to have to take this back panel off, so we're going to take that off. Then we're going to slide it in, we're going to pull the cables through. We're going to screw in, there's 4 slots back here, or 4 screw holes. Screw those in, secure the mount, secure the power supply, and then we're just going to feed it through the back and arrange the cables. Then we're going to go ahead and start plugging cables in. Then we're going to get into the GPU, and that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and hit the power supply real quick. So this power supply, as you can see, is fully modular, which essentially means there's 3 types of power supplies: fully modular, semi-modular, and non-modular. Fully modular means there's no cables pre-attached to it. You plug in the ones that you need. Helps with better cable management. Semi-modular is in between that. So some cables, mainly the ones that you need, like the power supply for the motherboard, CPU, also the GPU, those things are going to be pretty much the only thing on there. Or modular all the way, yes, is essentially going to have all the cables on there that you need. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you exactly which cables you need to put in here, and then we're going to move on to putting it in and mounting it onto the case. So it's going to come with a power cable. Just set that to the side for right now, but we are going to need that to power on the system later. It's going to come with a motherboard cable, 24
Music
pin.
licensing reimagined.
We're going to need one of those. We are also going to need a SATA power, so we're going to set one of those to the side. We're also going to need a CPU power, set one of those to the side. We have a GPU power, set that to the side. more SATA, just in case. So we got all our screws. We got all our screws right here. Like I said, we're gonna go in these 4 spots, and you're just gonna mount the PSU in there. So we're gonna go ahead and attach the cables first. I'm gonna show you right up here close up which ones you need. Then we're gonna mount it. Alright, so this is essentially the interface for this, the port interface. As you can see, most of these are pretty self-explanatory. They plug up where they fit. But we're gonna plug this one into PCIe. This is gonna be for the graphics card. So I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in there. So some of them actually won't fit into each other. Like, as for example, this did not fit into the PCIe because it's the CPU one. So the CPU and the GPU or the PCIe are slightly different. But if you can't force it in there, then don't try to. Next, we have the motherboard cable. Looks just like this. Looks just like that. So we're gonna line all these up, and we're gonna put SATA in, and then we're gonna do the PCIe. I'll get back with you whenever we finish that. All right, so on your power supply, there's gonna be a fan. You're gonna wanna put the fan face down like so when you put it into the case. That's kind of the reason there's a fan hole right here, so that way air can get out and the power supply can breathe. That's also another reason why it's not good to put the case on the floor, because your power supply is gonna get a lot of dust in it. So we're just gonna slide it in through here like this. Boom, make sure we get it in there. So we're gonna have to move the cables here. I can't do this with one hand, but maybe I can. Okay, I can't do it with one hand. We're gonna slide it in here, and then we're gonna mount with all the holes. Alright, so we have the power supply installed. Next, we're gonna move over to the cables. So we can break this up pretty easily, right? So you have your power cables. Typically you'd have your fan cables, but in this case, there's 2 fans in this case, and they're already plugged up right here. So what you're gonna do is plug this SATA cable into this SATA port. Boom, connect that, make it look nice. I'll show you how to do that with zip ties. And then this is for all your motherboard ports. This is your USB, your sound, your power for the button up here to work, stuff like that, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna plug these in first, then we're gonna worry about plugging these in, all right? All right, guys, so as you can see, I'm gonna show you exactly where these cables go. This is going to be the USB 3.0 cable. It's going to go right here. As you can see, it has that little up part right there that matches this. So it only goes in one way. All these cables only go in one way. This is the HD audio. It's gonna go over here, right here, boom. Next, you have the power cables right here. So they're gonna say, one's gonna say power LED plus and then negative. And then you're gonna have a reset switch and a power switch.
Artlist.io.
If you go right here on this bottom chart, also refer to your motherboard's manual if you've never done this, but it shows you exactly how they want it. So refer to this because it can vary from board to board. So we're gonna go ahead and install the cables, then I'm gonna get back to you so we can install the power cables. Also, we didn't have this one pulled through, but this is going to be the fan power cable. So you can plug it in on anything that looks kind of like this, or like the CPU header, things like that on the board. They're gonna give that power so your fans can turn on. So yeah. All right, next we're gonna go ahead and do the power cables, right? So like I told you, hook this up to the fan header back there. Then we're gonna have to bring this around, hook it up here. Only goes in one way. You see this little latch right here? That hook is gonna go into this little latch right here. And then the way you essentially route these through the case is the CPU's up here. You wanna route it closer to, like, usually I route it through up here. Motherboard's right here, so I'm probably gonna bring it through here. Usually most cases will have something like this, so it makes it easier because the cables aren't that long, to be honest. So I'm gonna go ahead and route them, show you how to route them, and then we're gonna go ahead and start cable managing this, put the GPU in, then power it up. All right, guys, I'm gonna give you an overview. So as you can see, I got the zip ties out. I'm gonna show you exactly what I zip tied. So I zip tied this to this. Essentially, you just wanna get creative with it, right? You wanna be able to make sure the cables aren't everywhere. They're kind of all together.
and also the fact that you want to make sure
Artlist.io.
whenever you're doing this right, you want to make sure that all the cables are kind of neat looking, you know? That's the whole point of the zip ties and putting it like that. So what you do is, as you can see, this cable or this case already has something you can kind of do cable management with. So I just took the motherboard cable, and I also took the extra GPU cable, and I essentially curled it up, put it in there,
Music
zip tied or
licensing
tied it.
reimagined.
And what I like to use to cut the ends of these zip ties off is this, like a nail clipper or some type of clippers. Just clip them off, and that's tight on there. This runs to the CPU right up here. It didn't really need anything because it was the perfect length. We could pull through some, but it's pretty much perfect. So I'm gonna show you the front.
Artlist.io.
Here's the front, not too bad so far, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna play with the slack a little bit, but we're gonna pull this through so we can connect it to the
Music
GPU,
licensing
and we're gonna take
reimagined.
these and put these back some, but it's essentially the same process. So we're gonna go ahead and do that real quick and install the GPU. All right, guys, as you can see right here, there are brackets. The GPU is gonna go in this top slot. I'll show you the GPU if you've never seen one. These are the teeth. They're essentially gonna go in there like that. But you wanna make sure that you clear out some space for the end, for your outputs, so you can plug in, your HDMI and stuff. Something
Artlist.io.
kinda neat. So you're gonna unscrew the second bracket for this particular build, and then we're gonna push it through, and then we're gonna take this off, and it's gonna be able to tighten it so that way it doesn't come out and rattle. So we're gonna go ahead and install that.
Alright, so we're just gonna line it up with that top port. And as you can see, we're just gonna line it up. We're gonna click this bad boy in there. First, make sure you open this up. It is open. I'm just gonna line this up. Boom, hear that little click? Alright. We're gonna keep rolling. So then we're gonna take the screw and we're gonna screw this part in. So that way it's not sagging. Alright guys, so as you can see, I essentially just reversed the steps. But now you see this cable right here is kind of hanging out. What we're gonna do, we're gonna zip tie it right back here to this part. Then we're just gonna pull it through a little bit more, take the slack out so there's not so much room up here. And give room for the awesome Funko Pop. Then we're gonna turn this bad boy on and start installing Windows. I'll show you guys how to do that. Alright guys, so remember when I told you to save that power cable? Here we go. We're gonna go ahead and plug it up, turn it on, get it hooked up to the monitor, get Windows installed. But since we don't have Windows installed, we're gonna go ahead and take a flash drive, and what you do is you download Media Creation Tool onto the flash drive, get the kind of Windows that you want onto that flash drive, and we're gonna plug it in here, we're gonna reboot it, and it should load up onto the, go ahead and try to install Windows. So let's do that. Alright, so as you can see now, we're about to load up into the BIOS. We should load onto the Windows on this flash drive. Give it a second. Boom. So this is the screen you want to see, right? So I'm going to take you through the steps really quick. So first page, you're going to hit next. You're going to hit install now. It's going to set up. It's starting. So next, you don't have a product key. That's fine. You can just install the non-activated portion of Windows. It's literally the same, except there will be a watermark at the bottom right. Who cares about the watermark, right? I don't have a product key. So we want Windows 10 Pro. It's pretty much the best option we have. Hit next. We're gonna hit I accept, next. Then we're gonna go to custom. So this is our 1 terabyte M.2. We're gonna click this, we're gonna hit next, right? It's brand new. All right, so now Windows is installing, we're gonna let it do its thing. I'm gonna come back after it's installed. It may take a little bit. All right, so we essentially had Windows installed, then we rebooted it, took the Windows 10 flash drive out, right? So what that did was allow for the Windows on the now installed M.2 to go ahead and load up. So now this is the screen that we get. We choose the state that we're in, hit yes, give it just a moment.
Artlist.io.
State again. We're gonna skip this part. We're gonna pretend that I don't have internet, because if you connect to the internet, it's gonna essentially start installing updates and stuff, and you don't want it to do that at the moment. We're gonna hit continue with limited setup. So we're just gonna name
Music
this
licensing reimagined.
123, because I don't want to essentially say our customer's name or anything. Then we're gonna name the password 123. Random, something random. Random password. Boom. Security questions. Just pick them. 123. So you can go ahead and set this up the way you'd like, or you can just do it the way I'm doing it if you plan on giving it to somebody or selling it, or whatever you plan on doing. Now this is the part where you're going to want to check no on all these. These are just extra things that are trying to essentially like get your location and random stuff that you don't need, right? Hit accept. Then we hit not now. Now it's going to reboot as if like you remember when you bought a brand new computer. This is literally the screen that you get, right?
Reimagined.
So let it do its thing. It's going to reboot up. Then we're going to go ahead and I'm going to show you how to install the drivers. Then we're going to play a couple games, do some benchmarks, and show you exactly what this PC is capable of. Alright, what's up guys? So I got a little tired last night, stopped at that point, and then we're back today early in the morning. So we just loaded up on the desktop, right? So now we're going to go ahead and connect to the internet. So also one key point if you're doing this build, there are two things in the motherboard case that are going to help you connect to the internet via Wi-Fi. It's two little things that screw in. They're like sticks. They screw in right here on these back ports. You screw them in. They'll help you be able to transmit and receive your Wi-Fi. But we're just going to use Ethernet cable for this scenario, right? But first off, to make your screen look a little bit better, we're going to go to display settings. Scroll down. Change this from 1024 by 768 to 1920 by 1080, right? Keep changes. Makes it look way better. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this to the internet. I'm going to show you guys all the websites that we need to go to. Alright guys, we're on the website right here. So first thing you want to do for audio is pick the version of OS you have. So we have Windows 10, so we're going to download this one. Already downloaded it. We're going to go to chipset.
Artlist.io.
And we're going to download Windows 10. Right here. AMD chipset driver. Download. Boom. Next thing we're going to do is also if you have an AIO, you can download a driver for it here. Next we're going to scroll back down.
Music licensing reimagined.
It's going to be for your LAN drives, so that way you can connect and make sure everything's up to date for Ethernet cable. We're going to find Windows 10, boom, download. Then we're going to go over to SATA. Same thing, so essentially you're going to go through all these little bullet points. You're going to download all the particular version of your Windows, and then we're just going to show you, I'm going to show you how to install them in a second. Alright guys, so we're also going to download RGB Fusion right here. It's going to help us change the color of our RGB strip right here, so download that too.
Music licensing reimagined.
Alright, next thing you're going to run over to this website. All the websites are going to be in the description down below, so you can just click them and it'll take you straight there. For these particular, first off, motherboard, it'll take you straight to the Gigabyte website, and then this will take you straight to this page, so that way you can fill this out. So we have a RTX 3050. So product type, it's going to be a GeForce. Then it's a 30 series, right? It's not for a notebook though. It's for just regular. So then we're going to have to find 3050.
Artlist.io.
It's Windows 10. All right, now we're going to search for it. Let it load. Boom. As you can see, it's found it. We're going to hit download, and now it's going to download. We hit download again, and it's going to download. We let that download, and then we're going to install all this stuff. So what we did was we just put all the files on the desktop, and now we're just going to go through, double click them all, and start installing them. So we're installing this one right now. Your screen may flash a little bit. That's just essentially the CPU restarting and getting you ready to download this. So hit yes. and we're gonna go through and do that for all of these, okay? Essentially, I've installed everything. As you can see, it's now pink. I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like right here. It's installed, and you can edit it. You can make it pulse. Pulsate, it gets a little darker and turns off, turns back on. Make it flash, which I don't know why you'd want to do that, but anyway, we're gonna keep it on static. And now I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys installing this. Essentially, this is gonna download NVIDIA graphics driver, and it's gonna go through all this. You're gonna want to. All right, guys. So we've installed the graphics driver. So essentially, just go through all the steps. Then you install it, and then you restart your monitor or your computer. And now we're just installing some games. We're about to get into the gameplay footage. So let's go ahead, and I'm gonna show you guys a little montage of the computer. We'll get into some games, show you some benchmarks on Valorant, Fortnite, some AAA platform games, and then we're gonna wrap this video up.
Artlist.io.
Alright guys, so we're queued up for deathmatch. We're gonna see if we can get a win. Let's go.
Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined.
Scouts down.
Artlist.io.
Raiders down.
Music licensing reimagined.
Well, we couldn't catch the W, guys, but
Next time, I'm getting first
that's
place.
essentially going to be the end of the video. I appreciate you guys for watching. Join my Discord if you wanted to talk PCs. Also, Inventive Fitness if you want to talk fitness. Anything, just join my Discord. I'm trying to create a community. Like I said, also I do that fundraiser for kids who are less fortunate, who need a PC built so they can play games and do schoolwork and stuff. So go donate to that if you'd like. My website's in the description down below. If you want a PC just like this built for you, I do that. Customize it myself. Sometimes I'll spray paint them if you'd like. Do whatever you need. I also repair them as well. So, with that being said, I appreciate you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.